Alright, let's see. There we go. Alright, since I got nothing better to do until daylight comes, because it's still dark out for me and everybody's kind of dead asleep, I'm just going to record until I feel too tired. That way I can at least say that I've been rather productive today. At least anyway, in my mind's eye. Alright, let's get this shit started. The day of the festival. June 20th, 1982. 1:40 p.m. local time. What was I doing today? Nothing particular. Nothing at all. I just wanted to play hooky. I woke up in the afternoon. I ate instant food for lunch and watched boring TV programs. I had a light headache, so I lay down on the sofa. I wouldn't wake up again if I went to sleep. Whatever. I decided to sleep. I already told Sis Satoshi had asked her to look after Sadako. I didn't have to do anything myself. So I fell asleep. My head was aching a bit. That would be all I have to deal with. June 20th, 1982, 5:02 p.m. The aunt believed that all the villagers frowned upon her because her brother-in-law and his wife were pro-dam activists. She surely experienced some fallout during the time of the dispute. But people had stopped looking coldly upon her, even though she assumed otherwise. She was paranoid, believing that all the villagers hated her, and so she decided to hate them back. Her attitude, of course, begot hatred from the villagers, and the situation became exactly the way she thought it was from the start. What came first? Their poor relationships with the neighbors, or her husband's affair. She didn't know it herself. Her husband claimed he got to love her because he was fed up with her attitude. She in turn claimed that their relationship on the neighbors went sour because her husband had damaged their reputation. Only Satoshi was aware that both happened at almost the same time. Their quarrels had become a daily routine now. When the husband came home late, the wife would shout at him at the entrance. Satoshi wondered why they didn't get a divorce, their marriage being rotten as it was. But he secretly knew the reason for that. It was the fortune his parents had left. His aunt had hidden their bank book and stamp and never allowed her husband to access them. So her husband would search the house for them, and she'd find out he'd stolen some money from her purse. Would cause yet another fight. Satoshi had never been aware that his parents had that much money when they were alive. After the death, however, one of his relatives told him. He was informed that his parents had left a huge sum of money in a bank account. He couldn't understand why they had that kind of money because the family has been, as far as he knew, poor. This is because of the dam project. His parents probably got the money in return for their cooperation with the government. Strive to get more villagers on their side, provided information to them and whatnot. The money was probably compensation for their efforts. His aunt and uncle never had any intention to adopt them until they heard about the money. Oh, of course! After someone from some financial institution revealed his existence, they adopted Satoko and Satoshi, and proceeded to beat him. The couple would fight every day, and eventually his uncle spent more time at his mistress's home. He realized he had no reason to return to his own home, because he'd just end up in a fight with his wife if he didn't. When he stopped coming home, Satoshi felt relieved. Neither their uncle nor their aunt treated the two siblings very well, and Satoshi's aunt would have to vent her frustration upon them. The reason the couple fought was their corrupted relationship. If they separated, there wouldn't be any more fights. Satoshi had thought of that at first. But even after they separated, his aunt still had a short temper. Another woman stole her husband. The villagers must have been talking behind her back. It was mortifying and embarrassing. Since she lost an opponent to fight, Satoshi's aunt directed her hatred towards the siblings. Satoshi began observing her. He learned when she would get upset and how to avoid attention. He managed to get by without upsetting her, turning a keen eye to her behavior and avoiding conflicts. But Sadako couldn't. She hated her aunt and didn't even try to hide it. Satoshi told her to behave in their aunt's presence, but her eyes were always filled with hatred. Satoshi survived to try to reduce the conflict between them as much as possible. So he stepped in to mend their relationship. A heavy burden for him. He was still just a boy. He bore so much, covering for his little sister by lying and maneuvering, trying to maintain a tangible sense of peace. But he couldn't do that forever, now can he? The relationship between those two spiraled out of control already. Satoshi found something in the trash. It wasn't a legitimate place for trash disposal. If it was, sanitation would come by and pick it up. He passed by this street all the time, so he noticed when there were new things dumped here. He found a plain-looking desk, the kind likely to be seen in offices. Must have dumped it within the past few days. His aunt liked to bring usable trash home. Satoshi helped him bring a chest home just a few days ago. He told her about the desk she wanted. His aunt hated to find bugs and garbage in the drawers, so she always opened them to check before carrying them. He opened all the drawers, all of which were empty. After that, he turned around and walked for about 5 steps. He was standing in a knee-high bush, laying something he'd been carrying all the time until the day. It'd be very hard to find that unless you specifically knew it was there to begin with. Looking satisfied, he looked around for some landmark to remember the place by. June 20th, 1982, 5:51 p.m. Hey, old pal, I see you showed up again this year. Better get ready for us. You're as peppy as ever. Oh, is she a newcomer? Uh-huh, Rena Ryuku. Don't underestimate her, she's good. No, I'm not. Nice to meet you. Yo, you too! I brought all kinds of prizes this year. There'll be a real battle to win. Try and take them all with you if you can. Rena tends to dote on cute stuff. Yeah, that stuffed animal looks just her type. Oh, oh. So cute! I want to take it home with me. This booth isn't open yet. Oh God! Stop it, Rena. He says the booth isn't open. You can run him to the ground once he opens it up. Oh, it's mine. I'm taking it home. Rena lost her marbles over the stuffed animal, and everybody laughed, except Sadako. She was standing by herself, distant from the crowd. Eyes looked dull. Shit, she looks drugged. Meep. I can't do what accuse her. What is it? Rika walked up to Sadako, smiling ear to ear in an effort to cheer her up. Forget your worries today. Let's just have some fun. She looked down. Even if she got to have fun today, circumstances at home wouldn't change. Sadako, your evil aunt isn't around. I know that. So why don't you have fun? Ipa. Ipa. God damn it. Fucking. Well, another Nipa. I don't feel like it. Could you please leave me alone? Why aren't you smiling? She sulkily glimpsed at Rika. She gave her a look, as though she wanted to say that Rika should know the reason. Even if she could have fun today, nothing would change between her and her evil aunt. No matter how fun the festival would be once she went home, the aunt would be there. Find something wrong with Sadako, get mad, and shout at her so badly the neighbors would hear. So how could she have fun, even for just today, knowing all that? She didn't say that out loud, but her eyes betrayed her emotions to Rika. So Sadako, if your suffering is today, will you smile? Sadako gasped. She thought that Rika might do something to help, but soon after she realized that Rika is just trying to comfort her. Could her suffering end today? Because of Rika? How? She knew there was really nothing Rika could do. After just one moment of freedom, Sadako fell into depression again. Rika, don't give me false hopes. Sadako. Rika's voice was clearer than Sadako had ever heard before. It's already been decided. June 20th, 1982, 8:11 p.m. Satoshi snuck out the window after supper, heard the distant rockets of the festival. The festival would end around 9. After the festival, the ceremony anyway, there's going to be a raffle drawing. 2 types of people in Hinamizawa, one would go home for dinner, and one who would stay until the raffle's over. Either relaxing at home or still at the festival. There were only those 2 patterns. On top of that, there weren't many neighbors in the vicinity, as Satoshi told. As a result, he found nobody on the streets. On that night, the small village seemed especially desolate. Satoshi knew it was going to be like this, but he would keep worrying until he saw for himself. Barefooted, but started running without hesitation. He felt as though he'd become a wild animal running on bare feet. He got the impression that he could run faster than usual. Not only is his running ability, his vision, and his hearing enhanced, and his sense of smell, his senses were keener, including a 6th one. The presence of people in the distance, if only when crouching like an animal. It felt strange, as though he had stepped into another world. He'd been feeling tense and anxious until today, battling with his own fear, but now he felt as though he had metamorphosed into a different person. June 20th, 1982, 8:37. Alright everyone, I'm going to explain how the raffle works. Gather around the altar. The festival reached climax. Raffle was going to start. Both women were dancing, and those who were waiting for the raffle gathered around the altar. The first time they held a raffle, the planning committee decided to hold one from this year onward to attract more people to the festival. At first, the prizes were things the committee members had donated, but Oryu, not appreciating how pathetic they looked, had thrown them away. Oryu took the initiative and bought a brand new TV, washing machine, cooling fan, and other such things for the raffle. The committee wanted to keep it small initially, but it turned out big thanks to her. She was upset because the committee members weren't enthusiastic enough in her opinion. Some of the members thought it would be very difficult to prepare prizes of equal value the following year, so this might be the very first and last raffle. Thanks to you, we have such wonderful prizes this year. It must have cost a lot, didn't they? We can reimburse you from our budget. Buffoon! No point in reimbursing that. It was never about the money. Idiots. Now, don't say that. This raffle is all thanks to you, are you? It's not like I'm doing this all by myself, dummy. Don't be ridiculous. The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was having a tough time pacifying Oryu. All of a sudden, one of the committee members burst into the tent in a rush. He looked upset. Kimiyoshi assumed that somebody probably got hurt in an accident. What's going on, Makino? I hope you're not having a heart attack. Kimiyoshi made a joke to calm him down. Makino, however, looked tense. He whispered something. He went out here in the exchange. It was plain as day. Bad news happened. Oryu, I have unpleasant news if you don't mind. Kimiyoshi, accompanied by Makino, moved to Oryu's side and spoke in a very serious tone. Kimiyoshi whispered to her the exact same words Makino told him. Oh dear, this is bad. Ain't unexpected. What happens thrice will happen a 4th time. That's not funny, Oryu. You're right, it isn't. It's just another hassle. Police are trying to identify the body. I heard his face was completely destroyed, so it'll be difficult. It's quite curious who it is, though. Do you know who it might be? Oryu glared at Kimiyoshi and then started chuckling. Idiot, it must be some impudent lad who didn't come to the Watanagashi festival. People who respect Oriyashima wouldn't get involved in something like that. Or you keep laughing. Kimiyoshi and Makino didn't know how to react to that. June 20th, 1982, 9:04. This is merciless. Kuma-chan, every death is merciless, unless the death wished to. They may have my condolences. How's it going on over there? Do you find something that can identify the body? The forensic investigators shook their heads. The victim's wearing sandals and casual clothes. It must be from the neighborhood. We should be able to identify the corpse by asking around. That's the way we do it. The section manager said this case might become classified. Be careful with that. Gotcha. Kumagai gathered some officers and gave them directions. Dr. Erie arrived. Doctor, over here. A young doctor got out of his car and headed in the victim's direction. Hey, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I had to help with the raffle. You must have drunk a lot at the festival, Doctor. Sure you're sober? Maybe I should run a breathalyzer on you, just to be safe. Was there breathalyzers in the 1980s? I better check. I'm fine. My assistant is driving. Clever you. Hey, let the doctor pass. An area cordoned off with blue plastic sheets. An officer rolled up the sheet and let Oishi and Erie pass. The forensic people were taking photos from many different angles. The blood spatters and blood sandal and the bloody sandals were left untouched, marked with chalk and indicating small alphabetized plates. Wait a minute, sandals. I think that's the uncle that fucked up fucking Satoshi. I'm not used to seeing things like this. Erie took out a handkerchief and covered his nose. You should breathe through your mouth. Well, you might sense the smell visually, though. The body appeared to be that of a middle-aged woman. Oh, wait! Never mind. It was soaked in blood, looked like a middle-aged woman because of the hair and what she was wearing. The reason why no one could be certain it was a middle-aged woman was because the face was completely polarized. Did Satoshi kill his own aunt? This is brutal. I'm sure it was done out of malice. The victim must have been murdered right here. Judging from the pattern of blood spatters and soles of the sandals. Even though not many people take this road, the body is right in the middle of it. Very unusual to see a culprit who plunged in the victim until the face was completely destroyed. Also, can you look at those arms? I wish he put on latex gloves and lifted the corpse's arm. See? Spotless. Are you saying the victim didn't try to protect her head? No signs of a struggle? Right you are. I think the victim lost consciousness with the first blow. The culprit kept beating to complete the murder. The victim was probably lying face down at the time, judging from the stains on her clothes. The body's face up now. Seemed to have flipped the victim over, in order to smash her face, even though by that point, she was already for certain death. Erie looked like he was going to throw up, both because of the putrid smell and Oishi's reasoning. Smashing the victim's face is clearly a sign of a grudge. A very profound grudge. Means the culprit must be someone very close. I understand you didn't call me to resuscitate her. Doctor, do you know who the victim is? If you do, I don't have to waste time questioning the neighbors. Erie looked at the body once again. Looked away quickly and thought. After a while, he left the investigation area without saying a word. I'm sorry, I don't know. Oh, come on. Are you sure about that? Oishi smirked and looked at Erie's eyes. So Erie was hiding something. I'm not hiding anything. I guess you're still under the influence, Doctor. Maybe you'll remember when you're sober. Let me know if you do. Oishi tapped Erie at the back. The doctor, saying he wanted some fresh air, left the scene. Kumagai returned. Oishi, the section manager, is on the radio. The one in the first car. Here he lied. Huh? Nothing. Hurry up and question the neighbors. The victim must be from this area. June 20th, 1982. 9:39 p.m. Here he is, Oishi. Thank you for coming here this late at night. I know you have school tomorrow. I'm really sorry to bother you. No problem. Oh, Satoshi's still here? Where's your father? My stepfather doesn't come home. Oh, since when? When did he come home last? I don't know. I heard he's living with a woman who works at a club in Okinomiya or something. I don't remember exactly when, but I guess I saw him a few weeks ago. Uh-huh. You have your father's address? No. Living with a woman working at a club, huh? Know the name of the place? No. I know it's in Okinomiya and that's all. What's your father's name? Teipei Hojo. Oishi signaled Kumagai with his chin, who nodded while taking notes. Were your mother and father getting along well? I don't know much about that, but I don't think so. I see. I want you to tell me honestly, do you know anyone who might be holding a grudge against your stepmother? I don't. Alright, please let me know if you remember something. Here's my card. My number's on it. Okay. I'm going to ask to see you again for further inquiries, and if you see your stepfather, let him know we want to contact him. Kuma-chan, drive him home, will you? Oh, no. I'll go home by myself. Please, let us drive you home. There's a possibility the culprit who murdered your aunt is roaming around the neighborhood. He might get hurt too. Thank you for your consideration, but really I'm fine. Satoshi tried to reject the offer, but Oishi and Kumagi instead insisted. I don't know how to pronounce that. In the end, Satoshi was forced to accept. He turned around to leave when Oishi spoke to him as if he remembered something he forgotten to say. Ojo! Don't worry, it's no problem. We'll catch the culprit soon. Do you have any leads? Yeah, we do. Like? Sorry, that's confidential. Ordinary people might think that Oishi was trying to cheer the poor kid up with a joke. Well, usually people get pretty worked up when they commit murder. So, of course, there are some exceptions, he says. What kind of evidence do you find when the culprit's worked up? Silence. When somebody here is in a very excited condition, their body shows many symptoms like sweat, loss of hair. We often find the culprit's hair at the crime scenes. Well, this is outside, it'll be a bit different, but still. Do you find their hair? I don't know yet. The forensic guys are searching the scene. I'm anxious to see what they will bring me. Excuse me, I gotta go now. Please, Kuma, would you? Sure. See you again soon, Hojo. I'll let you know if there's any progress. Let me know when you remember something. Let's cooperate to catch the murderer of your stepmother. Sis called the morning after the festival to tell me a curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who was harassing Satoshi and Sadako. Satoshi's suffering should be over now, since the problem with Sadako and the aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason. Did the police have a lead? Sis went quiet when I asked that. I don't know. She seems to be questioning people in the neighborhood. He thinks the culprit is somebody close to the victim. Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi of being the murderer, so would she. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious. Does Satoshi have an alibi? I don't know. I heaved a huge sigh. Are you stupid? He was at the festival. Didn't you see him there? Yeah, right. No, I'm sorry if I didn't realize that. I heaved another sigh. So this was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion. So, that means he did do it. Not important. The problem is whether he has an alibi or not. Well, the police are going to come here later. I'll tell them I was with him at the festival. Sis, lying out of the blue like that won't work. If you haven't done anything to assure his alibi, it's too late. Just be honest with him. I can't trust your acting skills, but it might raise some more suspicion if you try to make something up on the spot. Yeah, sorry. She sounded depressed, while I should be the one who should be. Mion usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonozaki family. Mion must have been embarrassed. She should. She soon changed the subject. I guess you haven't been able to work lately, have you? You're right, I haven't. Thanks to you. Sorry about that. I'll hide somewhere tonight so you can work. She has been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot, and as a result, I have been able to pretend to be her. I haven't been able to work. Oof. Also, as someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working, but I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door to the next apartment opened. I can't even. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next one opened up. Kasai appeared. Shion, are you heading out? Yeah, I'm going to work since Sis gave me time until tonight. Can you give me a ride? Shion, wouldn't it be safer for you to take a few days off? The police seems to be staking out the main house. I don't think it's a good idea to leave. I appreciate your concern, but I have to make money to survive. Kasai might have suggested he donate money to my cause. But I swore to myself when I started living here I wouldn't depend on him. Well, I don't obey anyone else's rules. I have my own to stick to. Kasai could tell I was adamant in my decision. So, after repeating himself a couple of times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all. Every time I went to my uncle's store by car, we stop at this traffic light. I just knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see one of them look like Satoshi. It was him. Though I had spoken with him on the phone just a couple of days ago, it's been a while since I saw him last. Kasai, sorry, but you tell my uncle I can't come today? I'm getting off here. But Shion? Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless. The light turned green. The car behind him honked. As Kasai shouted at me, he had to start moving. Satoshi was on his bike, but he was going really slowly. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him. Hey, I'm surprised to see you in Okinomiya, Satoshi. If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. Ooh. That was a hell of a hiccup. So I smiled as brightly as I could. Mion? He looked tired as always, but as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain I looked happy. I was aware of that myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi. I don't know the circumstances, but you look happy. Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy because you look happy. When I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I felt even happier than before. What's going on, Satoshi? Did something good happen? Not really. My aunt died, and I have to deal with the police and the neighbors. I might have asked something dumb. He seems to be okay with it, though. He'd frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, but satisfied, like he had accomplished something great. Yeah, he killed his own aunt. I hate to be the one, but yeah, that's definitely the case. So I was convinced the one who killed that wicked aunt who tormented Satoko was him. Yep, it's pretty fucking obvious there in the end. I have absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. So I admitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi's motive for killing his aunt and how badly he was driven into a corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in. I knew Satoshi's feelings. I knew all of them. I admitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different. Where you going, Satoshi? Work? That's right, I have to make a stop before that, though. A stop? I have to make sure it's still there, otherwise I'll continue feeling really anxious. The conversation reminded me. The reason he started his part-time job was buying Sadako a huge teddy bear. It was being sold at the toy store down the street. I recall the teddy bear was very expensive. His birthday was right around the festival. I wasn't sure what day. Did he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-co-workers and clean out his locker. Either way, he'd been completely free very soon. Or maybe he hadn't been paid yet. That's why he wanted to check if they still have the teddy bear. He was only getting paid on Sadako's birthday. When we got into the toy store, he rushed to the display window. He looked relieved that it hasn't been sold. Good, good. It's still there. You've earned enough money already, haven't you? Why don't you reserve it? What? He probably hadn't thought of that. He really did need someone to look after him. I looked at the display window over his shoulder. The teddy bear wasn't that cute, in my opinion. It looked huge and crammed in the middle of the store showcase. It looked more like a display model than an item. I don't see a price tag. Is that really for sale? How much is it? Yeah, I'm sure they sell it. What about the price? Does it fit your budget? It's alright, I already checked. He thought I was teasing him again, pouted and looked a little sulky. There's no problem then. Why don't you go reserve it now? Then you won't have to feel anxious anymore. We entered the store and looked for a clerk. Is anyone here? Ah, nice. Maybe you can get it without paying. No, Mion. Stealing is bad. I'm kidding. Trying to make you laugh here. You think I really do that? No, sorry. Satoshi smiled apologetically. I puffed up my cheeks to tease him. Really been a while since the last time we did this. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I want to forget. But now I feel as though all those things simply vanished into the air around us. There's an old person napping in the back. Gotta be the clerk. He looked to be fast asleep. Excuse me, you work here, right? I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. When I did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in. Grandpa, you fell asleep again. We have customers. I'm really sorry, you two. He's been very flaky, you know. This middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register. That was so embarrassing. So how can I help you? I'd like to reserve something. That big teddy bear in the display window. Oh, that one? Are you sure? That one is really expensive. You know that, right? Yeah. I think I have enough. He'll get paid really soon. He'd like to reserve it. The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down his name and accepted a reservation. Satoshi received a slip of paper. See, you don't have to worry about that teddy bear anymore. Yeah, I'll get paid soon, too. I feel relieved now. He would have kept coming to check every day if he had done this now. Would have spent his time needlessly worrying. Satoshi looked very relieved indeed. I should have done it sooner. Usually people do that right away when they want something. It's very rare for somebody not to think of that. It's very fun to tease him. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi looked he forgotten everything, and that happened all up until yesterday. Anyway, thanks. Satoshi held out his hand to touch my head. Is he gonna stroke it? I feel my face reddening already. Even before he touched my head, I felt tingly, remembering the last time. I didn't care about the murder or whatever else happened. As long as he has his freedom, everything will be alright. I'd be content as long as we could live happily from today onward. But his hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes, realizing the situation had drastically changed. There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. Looks as though they've been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Hey! The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward, smirking. Never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi. He's probably a cop. I ran a search for information in my head and found some right away. Good to see both of you, Hojo and Sonozaki. I'm sorry to bother you at a time like this. Must be Kurado Oishi, the cop investigating the series of mysterious deaths. Thinks the Sonozaki family is behind all of them. In other words, an enemy to the Sonozaki family. Deep connections with other investigation divisions and the police force, likely to nose around the businesses in this area. He annoys the family, even though enough as it is, well, and by interfering with the Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. Naturally, as the family's successor, he's not a welcoming figure to the Mion Sonozaki. I try to imagine how Sis would react. Oishi, thank you for working hard for our safety. Before you want something from this toy store? A doll, maybe? I knew what they want. It's not a toy. Probably not me either. They want Satoshi. I took a look at Satoshi. He seemed a bit uncomfortable. The other 3 cops loosely surround us to prevent our escape. Oh, Joe, I'd like to talk to you about something. What for? Are you talking to him? Are you taking him to the station? You don't have to go with him, Satoshi. Let us get out of here. I pushed his shoulder, but he just stood there, looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? Wait. He looks resigned. Then I recall Sis's mistake. It's obvious he killed Hassan for the circumstances. He only had to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? Stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making up anything at all. Hassan had told him she knew where he was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. Just a matter of time until the police uncovered his complete lack of an alibi. The police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I look at Satoshi's face once again. A dead man. Probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. If he was taken to the station and grilled by him, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. So I had to step up. So how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told him, saying it was a mistake? It wasn't going to work. If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea. But not much time there. Pressuring him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi has felt intimidated. He must have. He might end up turning himself in due to the pressure. I have to do something. Say something. Or he might give in. I have to save him. He drew nearer. He fell back. It won't take much time. Come on, don't be scared. What won't take much time? He just said it. He won't let him out if he caught him now. Don't give in. If you give in now, everything you'll be working for will be ruined. He looked as if he was he was at his breaking point. He was clearly aware of it. Oishi smirked and held out his arm to grab Satoshi's shoulder. I felt electrified when I saw that. It shouldn't be allowed to touch him. The moment he touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station, confess everything. What, do you want to know his alibi? Oishi turned his face towards me, hand left hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop him no matter what. I only needed to gain time. It didn't really matter. That's right, I wanted to get Hojo's alibi. We must not be doing our jobs. We can't seem to confirm his whereabouts at the time of the crime. That's shameful, but we decided to question him in person. You don't have to ask him, I can confirm it. Oh, really? That'll help. You already told me that you were at the festival that night and many people confirm it. Easier if we confirm that Hojo was with you. But I don't think you mentioned him when I questioned you last time, didn't you? You gonna change your statement now? Even though no one at the festival saw him? Are you gonna tell me he was with you? Yeah, he was with me. Wouldn't that be enough? I know you were there with your other friends that night. I saw that myself. Are you still saying you were with him? Isn't that a little too hard to believe? Isn't it? He approached me with a very creepy smile. Well... Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? Nah, I don't think so. He's frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch one big fish. Are you saying that you forgot that you were with him but just remembered? Mion. Come on. I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself. I could say Satoshi if I revealed my real identity. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly catch me if I revealed it. I didn't think of the consequences after that. Notebook page 27. I'm not Mion Sonozaki. I didn't go to the Watangashi festival in the first place. Huh? Satoshi and I were talking at a restaurant in Okiomiya at the time. The name of the place is Angel Mort. You can confirm that with the owner if you want. Oishi was still smirking, but he apparently felt confused. What are you saying? If you aren't Mion, then who are you? Shion Sonozaki, her twin sister. Pleasure to meet you. Oishi looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I said. He frowned. I didn't know Mion had a twin sister. Are you trying to fool me? Not at all. Why don't you check my family registry? Or whatever. Should I call Sis? All the cops looked bewildered. Shion Sonozaki, huh? Yep. Anything wrong? Can you come with us? If you're testifying that you were with Hojo that night, I have to talk to you too. Sure thing. Go easy on us. The cops gathered at the car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. I hope they'd be able to fake Satoshi's alibi for at least a while. It shouldn't be too difficult. Talk to Sis about this, then forge up an alibi altogether. Satoshi, tell me you were chatting with me and Angel Mort that night. No matter what they ask, okay? I'll confirm it. Tell him you don't remember that night too clearly, or maybe you should just keep silent. Satoshi wore a startled expression. Though I was telling him something important, he apparently decided to not listen. Wait, can you listen to me? You can't mess this up, okay? Okay. Must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I did just confess that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really have been deceiving him. You upset? Why? Because I've been fooling you. He started to laugh. Oh, there we go. His cute little smile returns. I didn't know why he'd laugh, because he wasn't the type of person who laughed in order to hide something. I finally understand why you're weird sometimes in class. I've been thinking it was a bit strange. Aren't you upset that I've been fooling you? Satoshi looked puzzled. It's like he didn't know whether he should be upset or not, or maybe he was only pretending to be that way. So, this is the first time we've met, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Okay. How did you write your name? With the characters for poetry and sound. Shion, huh? Huh? That's a beautiful name. Could you please come with us to the station? We can get you instant coffee or tea. Ooh, I gotta continue this shit. This is starting to get a little juicy. Notebook page 29. Either Satoshi was smart or very lucky, or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yet he was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Oishi took a chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi. Oishi believed Satoshi did it. He was waiting for Satoshi to fall apart and confess. That's what both Oishi and I were thinking. But our hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Oishi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into a shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I could only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. I wonder if they ended up fucking finding out. Let's see. Let's fucking save this shit. And then continue. Shit up, spillings. The cops were smart enough to separate us during questioning. Oishi didn't come to talk to me. His name was Satoshi and nobody else. I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. Must have been trying to ease me into the interrogation. When I realized that, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Is he alright? I didn't think Oishi really bought my testimony. He must have been trying to get Satoshi to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he kept quiet. The phone on the desk rang and the cop picked it up. Kumagai. What? Alright, I understand. Right away. He got up and told me somebody had come to retrieve me. Looked like Satoshi had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had nobody to pick him up? Although maybe I should have been worrying more about myself. The hag probably heard about me by now since I revealed my real identity to the police. I just couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I have no idea what she'd end up doing to me. The degree of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of Sonozakis. The punishment must be carried out. If it's to protect the family's reputation, it's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky finger while I still can. I asked the young cop just in case. Hey, did you know that in America, if a condemned criminal gets arrested in a state which has banned capital punishment, they refuse to surrender him into the state prosecuting him if that state hasn't banned it? What? Maybe it was too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A glossy back car was waiting for me in front of the police station, and a few men from my dad's office bowed to me. It's been a long time, Shion. Where's Kasai? Kasai had been helping me ever since my escape. They wouldn't allow him to walk free. How's Sis doing? Does she have something to say about this? We were only told to bring you to the main house. Please ask her when you get there. After saying that, he escorted me into the car. A man sat on either side of me. Obviously they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi, I looked back at the police station. Hold on tight, Satoshi. I'll grin and bear it. The car started off roughly. Ooh, hang on, I'm going to adjust this real quick. There we go. It was never a good occasion when I went to this house, except when Mion and I were really small, oblivious as to what the Sonozaki name meant for us. I've been here only when I had to attend boring family councils. The car parked behind the house. Traders aren't allowed to enter the main gate. I got out of the car. Looks like Sis will be the only person to receive me. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could. It's been a while, Shion. I never expected to see you other than on New Year's. It gave me the chills to hear her greet me that cold manner. It's a pleasure to see you again, Mion. I feel overjoyed to have the chance to see you other than on New Year's. I responded, trying to sound likewise. Our leader is deep, said. I wonder how you'll explain yourself. I have nothing to explain. I have no excuse. I'd escaped from the school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all. Come this way, everyone's waiting for you. Mion escorted me, and the others followed. We went to the garden, not into the house. As we passed through the huge yard and the woods, I realized where she was taking me. Oh boy, is this the nail-raping scene? When we were told never to go near these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I heard there was a hidden entrance to the underground torture room where they used to punish the enemies of the family. The more hideous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seemed. Well, I wasn't completely certain in any of that. I'd never expect to see the torture room for myself. We came to a concave clearing in the middle of the woods. There was a metal door at the bottom of it. It reminded me of a bomb shelter. This is the underground torture room, huh? I was surprised to hear my own voice. It was trembling. It made me realize I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? I realized I've been underestimating my punishment. I haven't been aware of the real horror until now. I just thought I was. Beyond that steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. It really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry and my fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway and down a few sets of stairs, where I saw another huge steel door. So this was the place. Spacious, utterly odd-looking. The room had two sections that looked completely different. One looked like a lounge, several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions, looking expressionless. The other half was tiled, as if a large public bath. Puzzling. And there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge in tiled space. I didn't want to accept that they existed. I couldn't stand straight. I almost dropped to my knees, but I couldn't. Two young men had been holding me by the arms since I got here. Oddly shaped things hanging in the wall. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. But they are exactly what they were. Let's see. I understood that those yearly shaped objects were torture devices from hell. Damned fool, how dare you return! Oh, come on. It's not like she was an abortion baby. The hag sitting in the front of the lounge intimidated me in a horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a little while, but she was so incensed that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say. The hag was willing to forgive my escape for the school, but once I revealed my identity to the police, she had to step in. Since I had disobeyed the family rules, she as the leader was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I covered for Satoshi. The Hojo family has been seen as traitors to the village ever since the dam conflict. Satoshi is still considered one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. I escaped from the school the hag had put me in. All the while, I believed that was what she was upset about. But in fact, she said that she was the most uncomfortable with the connection to Satoshi. I couldn't believe this. Of course, I knew Satoshi's family was persecuted for their betrayal, but I didn't think Satoshi was also burdened with this responsibility. He has nothing to do with that. I understand that his parents were ostracized, but he shouldn't be. Shut the hell up! The hag interrupted me with a shout, which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojos, said that Satoshi was a cursed child. I started feeling pissed off. As you should be, honestly. There we go. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I realized I said that out loud. The hag looked furious. It's obvious I upset her. So I decided to repeat myself to make it very clear how I felt. What are you saying, old hag? Everything you sprouted is nonsense. Holy shit. Oh my god, you're in fucking trouble.
Huh? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Oh, shut up and let me finish.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up, let me finish. What the fuck do you know about Satoshi, huh? How could you talk to him like he's some pest when you don't know any—
Oh wait, that's her. Oopsie.
What the fuck do you know about Satoshi? How come you talk about him like he's a pest when you don't know anything about him? I know how sweet he is. You don't like him because he's a hojo, is that it? Isn't that fucking stupid? Is that even your brain archaic? You hate the fact that Sonozaki is with a hojo that much? That's not just stupid, that's beyond stupid. Boy, I never expected to feel like Juliet.
Oh good, you'll wind up being poisoned, and it'll probably look like an accident. My voice became hoarse. My face messed with tears. Even so, I didn't feel like putting a stop to this emotional explosion. I was all too aware that I was doing this just to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me, breathing heavily. I glared back at her, fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized her sticking point was my relationship. She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him. I see, looks like Mion mentioned that too. It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under that penetrating glare. I can't even English. This is so intense. That was what the hag really was unhappy about. The fact I was in love with Satoshi. I don't give a shit about his family background or my own. I admit I was in love with him. I love Satoshi Hojo. I loved him that much. Is that so wrong? Need a reason to love somebody? I could see relatives shaking their heads in turmoil. Among them I saw my mom. She must have been trying to protect me. But even she wouldn't look at me. So she looked silently at the floor. Guys in the back, hear me? Am I wrong? You know how sweet he is in an instant if you bother to get to know him. How could you put him down without— Mion ended up holding out a hand to silence me. She slowly walked in my direction. That's enough. I understand what you wanted to say. She put her head close to mine and whispered. Shion, I know how you feel, but you can't go back after coming this far. You have to pay for what you did. So what did I do? Why me? This is ridiculous. Shion. She turned cold again, and she calmly told me, You're probably right. But this is Hinamizawa, and we are the Sonozakis. I'm sure you'll understand. We are the leaders of the three families, and you are the twin sister of the successor. Yet, I interrupted her. We haven't agreed on that matter ever since I came back. You're full of this reputation shit. Hinamizawa, Sonozakis, so what? I don't give a fuck about— Oops, we pissed her off. Listen. She interrupted, just like I did her. How many people did you depend on to start your new life in Okinomiya? Chill shot through my spine. Kasai is in the cell in the back. Why him? Oh, I knew why. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were destined to meet the same fate. We were all subjected to punishment and betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they've been going through. Kazai and Uncle Yoshiro must have been treated much worse than this. Everybody who helped me was falling victim. I know you prepare for your punishment, but have you ever thought of the consequences that Kazai and Uncle Yoshiro will have to face? My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they bring onto me. Oh, honey, no. But I resented the fact that I'd been putting the people who supported me at risk. Shion, apologize to Granny. If you do, the others won't have to suffer. Alright? Mion, did I really do something wrong? Was any of what I did that bad? The moment she learned that I wasn't willing to apologize, the expression went cold. She turned her back to me and returned to the lounge. I talked back to the hag in a real harsh manner. I told her I didn't do anything wrong, and yet I involved many people who I owed so much. It went without saying it was my responsibility. the sole person to blame and no fault laid with them. Kazai and Yoshiro were blameless, just as Satoshi was. But as she read my mind, Mion turned around and gave me a slight nod. It was possible something was going to happen to Satoshi, on top of Kazai and Uncle Yoshiro. Wait a minute! That can't happen, Satoshi. Nobody else should be punished. Forgive them! What is it, Shion? Tears roll down my cheeks. I can't care about my pride. I'm sorry, I was in the wrong. Forgive me. I should have said what the hag wanted to hear, and yet she looked unsatisfied. Wasn't too surprising. I just denounced her so badly in front of relatives, she wouldn't forgive me that easily. Mion spoke though, this time successor mode. So Shion, how did you propose to pay for this? What do you want me to do? That can be scary than being told to pay up while standing next to a horrid-looking torture device. Or several. I was terrified. I couldn't move from trembling, and Mion saw that and whispered to her grandmother. The hag nodded. She summoned some young minions and gave them an order. Yep, pulling the fingernails. They removed one of the torture devices from the wall and set it on a table in front of me, and put the device on top of it. Okay. This is a tool for removing fingernails. Know how to use it? Nope. I shook as I stared at the tool. It looked like a giant nail clipper. You probably put the part that looks like a beak between your finger and fingernail, pulling them apart if you squeeze the handle. Chills ran up and down my spine when I imagined that. Each fingernail represents one of your responsibilities, Shion. No matter which one you choose, you must remove 3. 3? One for Kazai, one for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last for Satoshi. A fairly reasonable number. Will you really not punish the others? Promise me, let them go if I do this. This is a punishment, not a negotiation. If you don't like the procedure, I'll do it, just give me a second. So I put the device in my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernail were shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. Subordinates then stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. Seems reasonable because my finger would slip out if it weren't restrained like that. As subordinates buckled up the leather straps, I realized this was really happening and there was no escape. Somewhere in my mind I've been thinking that they might have forgiven me after just that gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I've been holding it back appear in the form of tears that kept rolling down my cheeks, like my feelings were being squeezed out until the very last drip, as well as the blood once they get rid of the fucking fingernails. Something even more horrifying followed it. The silence that awaited my next action. So what should I do now? One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to squeeze it or hit it. He recommended me that a ladder would be easier to make it painfully quick. Nobody said anything about that. Nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dropping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. Both the hag and Mion, they were also anticipating it. I could refuse, but that mean I wouldn't be paying up. So this exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who help me. But if I simply refuse, they suffer. I started breathing heavily. I knew it. I knew if I did this, the others would go free. If you thought about it, quite a good deal. If it weren't me, it would just be 3 fingernails. If it were Kazai, he had to sacrifice his little finger or something even worse. I knew all that. My selfish desire to get away from the school. So why did Kazai have to suffer because of that? I knew that. Why did my uncle have to suffer just because he provided me with jobs? I knew that the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos. I don't know what they'd do with Satoshi if I didn't do this. Will they bring Satoshi here and tell him to do the same? Tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? He'd do it. Sacrifice himself, no hesitation, in order to save others. My sweat continues to drip onto the table. I'd do it. The only 3 fingernails. Might hurt a lot. I won't die. The fingernails will just grow back. It won't even leave a huge scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Kazai, Yoshiro, or Satoshi. I was the only one who should be punished, so I just needed to bear the pain. And I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. It wasn't torture, so I don't have to prolong the moment of pain. Just do it with a swift blow. That way my pain and fear will be minimized. Here we go. The pain would be lessened if I did it with one stroke, and it'd be much more painful if I messed it up. And I held my breath. I felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chills crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just a tiny fraction of the whole body. Just a square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear it. And I smacked my right hand onto the handle of the device. I sensed the noise through my body instead of through my ears. At the same time, I felt the pain that I'd never experienced before. The pain pulsated along with my heartbeat. I clenched my teeth. I felt like my teeth were cracking. I tightly shut my eyes until my eyeballs got squeezed up. The pain wouldn't fade. Rather, it swelled with my blood pressure. I felt as though it was bloating like a balloon. Timidly, I opened my eyes. My little finger wasn't really drenched in blood. It was bleeding, but not much. Not enough to explain how much it hurt. My fingernail was open just like the hood of a car. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was overwhelming. It occurred to me that I had only done 1 out of 3. Did I have to repeat this 2 more times? Remove the nails from my ring and middle fingers? I looked at the hag and Mion begging for mercy, but they were just silently staring at me as if just the show had only begun. No mercy. They wouldn't be changing their minds. Since they said 3, it had to be 3. They wouldn't forgive me until I removed 2 more. Mion, look, isn't this enough? Really hurts, you know that? You see that in my eyes, don't you? It really hurts. Mion answered, wearing that cold look. You can't keep going, Shion? She didn't mean that it was sufficient. What she meant is that the others would have to take the remaining punishment if I didn't. I knew that. I really didn't know. I'll do it. This is easy, you sadists. This doesn't scare me. This doesn't hurt. And I quickly moved the metal beak and set it on my ring finger. Smacked it with no hesitation. Instead of making it quick, maybe I was just rushing out of fear. I'd messed up. The torture tool had clipped just the tip of my fingernail. The pain, however, was equal. I couldn't believe I only chipped it. Did I have to do it again? Did I have to continue removing the nail from my ring finger? That much pain? Again? Again? Shion, no, I don't want to do it. I couldn't bear it anymore. I started crying shamelessly. I can't take it anymore. It's too painful. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I apologize. And then she continues. They didn't seem to hear my voice. It felt as though there was an invisible barrier between us. Show no mercy. Just here to witness the ritual. Because apparently this is porn to them. So rather than sympathetic, they looked amazed. Mion walked up to me and whispered to my crying face, Shion, there's just a bit more to go. Hang in there. Hell no! I'm not doing this! You see how fucking hurts? Mion shook her head and signaled the subordinates. They came from behind me. They covered my head with something like a knit cap. It was a blindfold. One of them pinned me in a Nelson hold, restricting my movement. Stop it! I couldn't overpower the guy behind me. I felt something strange on my left hand. The other guy was doing something with the torture tool. He put the metal beak between my ring finger and his fingernail. And cried out for Mom. My left hand was fixed in the restraints. I couldn't put that much protest anyway. But even that left hand was pressed down by his rough palms until it hurt, robbing it of the freedom even to tremble. They had no hesitation. This made very clear to me how merciless people could be. Robbed of my vision, all I could do was clench my teeth against the pain assailing me. If there was anything I was thankful for, it was that he was well practiced and had ripped off both of my fingers cleanly. Pain and screaming might induce narcotic chemicals in the brain. While screaming, I started losing consciousness.
She okay?
I woke up. My memories were missing. I couldn't remember how I got back into my room. I held my head with both hands. My left hand was bandaged. The fingers that had the nails removed were swollen like hot dogs. I'd paid with those 3 fingernails for what I did. The hag had said something after the punishment, but I didn't remember any of it. I was taken to a hospital in Okinomiya. The car shook on the way, adding extra pain on top of what I already felt. Somebody gave me some aspirin. They worked just as they said on TV, but they didn't last more than 10 minutes. I swallowed the pills without water. While I was spacing out in a way lounge, Kazai showed up. Probably came to check if I was alright. Obviously wasn't. He must have understood that from the bandaged left arm dangling from my shoulder. He, on the other hand, looked fine. At least on the outside. I was relieved that my sacrifice had meant something. Kazai didn't say anything. I couldn't tell if he wanted to tell me something or not. He looked motionless. Yeah. He paused shortly before answering. I could tell he was upset. I didn't regret revealing my true identity in order to protect Satoshi, but I hadn't wanted Kazai or Uncle Yoshiro to be hurt. I'd been contradicting myself. You know how Uncle Yoshiro's doing? No. I'm sure he's alright, because he's strong. Even so, you should apologize to him. Okay. I wanted to ask him about Satoshi. Wondered if he was captured or harassed by the Sonozaki family because of me. But I was hesitant to ask Kazai. After all, I'd chosen Satoshi over them. Was he alright? I hope he wouldn't get caught or incarcerated. I paid the hospital bill and Kazai gave me a ride home. I finally realized somebody was knocking on my door. Shion, it's not healthy to sleep so much. It was Kazai. He put some side dishes on the table and we started nibbling at them. How'd you feel? Depressed? Have you been resting? Eating? I've been eating the stuff left in the fridge. Otherwise, I've been either sleeping or staring at the ceiling. It's been 3 days. I've just been lying down since then. I woke up every now and then in my shallow sleep, but I didn't feel like getting up or thinking. I felt like I'd just been floating the whole time. My appetite was gone, but it came back with the smell of the food Kazai brought. I wasn't able to think of anything to talk to Kazai about, so I just ate silently. I got a call from Mion. She said she called you a few times but never got through. The moment I heard Mion, I felt my wounds throb. But I didn't stop him. He continued. Because you paid out, the family decided to close the matter. You will officially withdraw from St. Lucia's and transfer to a school in Okinomiya. So they're finally acknowledging my right to make my own decisions, huh? Mm-hmm. You can live as yourself for now under conditions. Stay away from Hinamizawa. Don't pretend to be Mion. And you won't show up in public places. So that means, in exchange for acknowledging me, they don't want me to hang around. Correct. Of course, it's only temporary until things cool down. There's no set duration, but I think you should stay inconspicuous for at least until the end of the year. It'd be good enough to just live in Okinomiya, the way it was before. Cause I put on a smile. It was a sad one, but it's still a smile. I smiled back at him likewise. Before the conversation ended, I should ask him what I wanted to know. How's Satoshi? I wish Kazai would assure me of his safety right away. But he didn't. Kazai? Is he alright? Shion? Kazai put his chopsticks down. The family wants you to forget about him. What? Shion, I don't want to get in an argument with you. I will not get into the details. I'm only relaying to you what the family wants.
What are you talking about? What details, Kazai?
He pretended as though he didn't hear me and started to eat again. I never see him get stubborn. The Sonozaki family had been using the Hojo family as a scapegoat, which had concluded that a Sonozaki shouldn't be in love with a Hojo. I didn't like that. He's a friend of Mion's at school. Would it be okay if Satoshi and I were the same gender? Anyway, if I did something conspicuous again, they might do something to him for real. Just like they forced me to remove my own fingernails. Oop. The Sonozaki family wouldn't hesitate. They'd torture him if need be. Maybe if I really loved him, I should stay away. He won't show up in Okinomiya unless he rejoins the Inimizawa fighters. I'd have to pretend to be Mion if I wanted to go there. But I didn't think she'd cooperate with me. Even if she did, it'd be some time down the road. Even if they told me not to see him, I already have no means of doing that again. Oh wait, Mion gave me his number a little while ago. I could call him and maybe ask to meet with him secretly. But if I got caught again, they would cut me in slack. So I risk it? What the hell do they even want for him? Kazai, can I be alone for a moment? He started to put away his food in a rush, assuming I wanted him to leave. That's not what I meant. Take your time, finish your food. I just want to take a walk. You can't lock this place up if I don't step out with you. He quickly put away his meal and followed me out. Just to be clear, I'm not going out to see Satoshi, alright? I see. I turned around and started walking. Destination was rather pathetic. A toy store that sold that giant teddy bear. I couldn't deny that I was somewhat expecting Satoshi to pass by there. I couldn't stop myself from looking at the faces of the passerby that resembled him. I looked into the store's window. The teddy bear was gone. Congrats, Satoshi. Looks like you were able to buy it. His evil aunt had died and his wicked uncle was living with his mistress. Satoshi succeeded in fulfilling his duty as a big brother by buying his little sister a huge teddy bear. Nobody left to hurt him. He was free from his tiresome efforts. Completely free from pain. Over time he retrieved his smile, and he'd go back to being the Satoshi-kun I know and love. But I wouldn't be there with him. I heard a car honking. I didn't think it was honking to me at the time, but it was so persistent I had to look up. The person waving at me from their car was eerie. He was waving me all carefree, oblivious to my feelings. Sonozaki, long time no see. Are you meeting up with Hojo? No, I'm not. I know he looks into that store's window all the time, so I assumed you were expecting him here or something. Just passing by. Looks like he was able to buy that teddy bear. Yuri seemed to know about that teddy bear as well. He smiled upon seeing its empty display space. Yesterday was Sadako's birthday. He must have celebrated it with that teddy bear. He doesn't have to work so hard anymore, huh? Indeed. Did he turn in his resignation to the Himizawa fighters? Oh, does that even exist? I never received one. Did you? No, I didn't. So, that means he still belongs to the team. I think he'll be back after things settle down. But I know he'll be sad if he doesn't see you there. He teased me. He has grown up after all. He must have been trying to sound optimistic because he knew I was feeling down. You can come back to the team anytime you want. It might as well be empty without you. I'm thinking of providing you with a maid costume once you come back. Ew! I burst into laughter. Gary sure hadn't changed. Almost forgot. I can tell you my name now. Sorry, Coach. I was lying about my identity. I'm not Mion. I'm her twin sister. I've been pretending to be her for a few reasons. Come again? You're Mion's twin sister? He was totally taken aback, and I burst into laughter. Yep, Shion Sonozaki. I'm forced to live quietly because my grandmother hates me. I never realized that Mion had a twin sister. Same here. Oh boy.
fucking Christ. God damn it. Fucking Oishi. Hey, Dr. Eri, thank you for your cooperation last night.
Don't mention it. I wasn't much help. They were just going through the motions. Obvious they hated each other. Eri whispered to me. I'm leaving now. Do you want to get in my car? I can drive you home. Eri figured out Oishi was after me, so he's giving me a chance to slip away. Look at Oishi's face. It was clear his focus was on me and not Eri. Probably intended to interrogate me until my testimony broke. I was sure I could talk my way out of it, but it'd be just a waste of time. Alright, Coach. Let's get going.
Oh, are you two going somewhere tonight?
Yeah. We were on our way to get some stuff for the team. We have to drop by a few places, so will you excuse us? Eri bowed, and I followed suit. I had to admire how good he was at lying. He's a grown-up after all. Oishi seemed to know it was a lie, but he didn't have a warrant, so he couldn't stop us. So I moved to get into Eri's car. How are your wounds, Shion? I gasped when I heard that. My left hand was bandaged. It was unsightly, so I kept it in my pocket. There was no way Oishi could have been able to see it.
They'll heal no problems if they don't get infected. I tore my fingernails off a couple of times myself when I was a kid, but hey, they look beautiful now, don't they?
Men's fingernails shouldn't look beautiful. That can't be the creeps. Oishi scratched his head and chuckled. He's supposed to be one of the best cops in the Okinomiya Police Department, and he knows all about the underground activities in the region. Must have heard about my payment from somewhere. It happened in the secret basement of the Sonozaki main house. I couldn't underestimate this guy's sources. Thank you for your kind words. We'll be going now. Excuse us.
Shion, why don't we get coffee together sometime?
What, are you hitting on me?
If you like.
Sorry, time flies. I can't waste any of that precious time on things that don't interest me.
You got me there. How about this? You can leave any time if you get bored of talking to me. I won't stop you. How does that sound?
I don't mind you talking, but I won't talk back. I doubt you can call it a conversation.
That'll be fine. You can just listen, and I'll talk. You can just listen to old man ramble while sipping on a cup of coffee.
He was being strangely persistent. Didn't look like he was trying to poke a hole in my statement. What would he even talk about? I got a bit curious, even though I was still skeptical. Coach, I think I'll go with the old man instead. Shion, right? I went to them and told them not to worry. Eri didn't insist. He got in his car and drove off. Oishi backed his car up and I got in. I hopped in the back. I didn't want to sit next to him. Are we really going to a cafe?
If you could direct me with one with no connection to your family, that would be great.
Why don't you just take me to the station then? He carefully checked for oncoming traffic and then started driving. He took me to the police station, as though he might as well. If he hadn't taken me in a nice cafe, he would have scored some points. But whatever.
I thought it'd be more convenient if we came here anyways. You can still go home if you get bored.
Try your best not to bore me. You want me to go into the station hand in hand with you? He got out of the car and escorted me. I thought he'd taken me to an interrogation room, but instead he took me to an office of the investigation division. Officers in both suits and uniforms were working at their desks answering phones. A desk with a plate that said section manager, and nearby were couches and a table. Oishi told me to sit on the couch and started making some instant coffee. I'd never been in this part of the police station, so I looked around in curiosity.
Did you think I'd take you to an interrogation room?
He brought over a tray with coffee cups. You're treating me better than I expected. I thought you'd whip me or something.
My tastes don't run that way.
So I thought you wanted to talk.
Alright, I'll cut to the chase. Are you in love with Satoshi?
What? It's getting boring already. I'm going home.
Okay, please forget that.
He must have known why I had to remove my fingernails. He wasn't trying to confirm that I liked him. What he really was saying is that he knew already.
I already talked to the Kuma guy about Satoshi's alibi that day.
Of course, I read his report. I know you were with him.
I'll just repeat the same statement no matter how many times you ask. Don't think you can poke holes in it. No, it's not what I want. You're a smart person. I know that wouldn't work for you.
I wonder what you're after. You're wasting your time if you want information. There's nothing more to talk about. It's really boring me after all, so I'm probably going to go home since that was our agreement. I got up off the couch.
Shion, I did want to get Satoshi's alibi from you, I admit.
That's it then. Now it's boring. I turned around and started walking. He didn't get anxious. He instead spoke a little louder.
But Shion, what I want to ask you is his alibi for yesterday, not the day of the murder.
Yesterday? Why, what does that have to do with his aunt's death?
It's because he's been missing since then.
What?
Did you know that he went missing?
I couldn't say anything, but my expression answered him right away. What's going on? Missing? What?
Why don't you take a seat?
What do you mean he's gone missing? What the hell?
We only know one thing for sure. He withdrew all of his savings at an ATM in the Okinomiya post office before 3 p.m. yesterday. We don't know his whereabouts after that.
I knew why he withdrew that money. He wanted to buy that birthday present. He definitely bought that teddy bear yesterday.
This is just my guess, but I think he skipped town with that money.
You mean he used the money to run away? That's stupid. He was saving it to buy a birthday present. He bought a big expensive teddy bear from that toy store you met me. He never used that money to skip town.
The most expensive teddy bear in that toy store was sold. But we can't confirm that it was Satoshi who bought it.
Why don't you ask the clerk? Satoshi and I reserved that teddy bear. Oh, I have a bad feeling that old man was watching that store was sleeping while we were there. He looked very senile. Maybe he was also watching that store on that day. And even though Satoshi bought the teddy bear, he didn't remember. Always she put on a wry smile. Looked like he already tried to question that old man. Anyway, if Satoshi who bought that teddy bear, he must have saved just enough to buy it. He shouldn't have been able to run away afterwards. It would be nonsense.
Alright, let's say he really did buy that bear. Why did he come home with it?
At that point, I felt as though my heart had turned to ice. Satoshi has been working hard to buy that teddy bear, even though he was under extreme mental and physical stress. After that, he finally managed to buy it. It's unthinkable that somebody else just showed up and bought that same bear. The teddy bear was gone because he bought it. Nobody else. But if so, Satoshi should have given it to Sadako. But though he bought a present for her, he didn't come home. He didn't come home? Wait, that was impossible. He would have gone straight home with that teddy bear. He wouldn't think of running away after buying the teddy bear. Even though Satoshi wanted to run away from the police, he'd never leave without giving Sadako her present. It must have been Satoshi-kun who brought that teddy bear. I can't say that with 100% certainty. The question was, why did he bring it home? That teddy bear was huge. It wouldn't fit into the basket of a bicycle. He might have brought some straps to tie it onto his bike. Wouldn't have thought of running away on a wobbly bike like that. He necessarily had to go home after buying the teddy bear from the store after withdrawing the money. Nothing could have happened when he was going between the ATM and the toy store. It was impossible. Nobody else could possibly have bought that teddy bear. Never. That had been sitting in a showcase up until that day. Everybody could see it when it passed by, but nobody wanted it. It's impossible that it could have been somebody else. There should be no question that he went to the toy store after he withdrew the money. What about the route between the toy store and his home? There shouldn't be any question there either. He shouldn't have been able to do anything with that huge toy. He shouldn't even have thought of making a stop on the way. He must have headed home, right after he bought that bear. But nobody saw him after that. It was simple. He went missing on his way home from the toy store. If he seriously went missing, what did this mean? I was sure he killed his aunt. He's not that shrewd.
Maybe he couldn't bear the pressure from the police. Was he resigned to the idea that the police were going to arrest him soon, regardless of my help? Did he decide to run away? Did he think he shouldn't disappear until things cooled down, rather than getting arrested? That was definitely absolutely impossible. It was impossible that he came to the conclusion on his way home from the toy store. Even if he did, he wouldn't have waited until he gave Sadako her birthday present. Satoshi loved Sadako. He shouldn't have spoiled her like that, but he always tried to be a good brother, so he'd never disappear before going home. I felt as though the ice was cutting through my heart, expanding the frost. If Satoshi didn't disappear by his own will, the answer was simple. He disappeared by someone else's will. Was Satoshi-kun eliminated? That's really stupid, old man. I thought I could shake off the frost in my heart if I laughed loud enough. I kept laughing until it happened. I just kept laughing and laughing. All the cops in the room stared at me. They thought I'd gone crazy. I didn't care what they thought. I kept laughing until it turned into a cough. I finished laughing and took a sip of warm coffee. It felt as though the frost in my heart had spread all throughout my guts and I was chilled to the bone. I was freezing as my fingers shook as I held the coffee cup. Shion, please listen to me without interrupting. What I'm about to tell you is only a hypothesis. All just a theory. You might start laughing in the middle because it might sound ridiculous, but I want you to hear me out. Can you do that? Whatever. Just talk. I was feeling far too cold. My teeth were chattering. I felt as though my brain had frozen as well. I lost all ability to think. I couldn't do anything by myself. I could only do as he told me. He was going to tell me it might be the worst possible theory. But I gotta listen. I know Satoshi and Sadako's aunt was abusing them, especially Sadako. In my opinion, that's normally that Satoshi started thinking about murdering his aunt, because he was just a human being. I had to deny that Satoshi murdered her, but what Higurashi was saying was true. I couldn't deny that right away, I just kept silent. This is only a hypothesis, alright? Don't be upset. No interruptions, agree? I know, just go. Satoshi Hojo planned the murder of his aunt and executed it. We have no proof. It's all theoretical. Okay, I heard. Keep talking. Let me switch the subject. Shion, you were forbidden from having a relationship with him, weren't you? They told you to stay away from him. I believe the reason behind that is not that your family hated him, but that they didn't like the fact that you were involved with a murder suspect. It was possible. After all, when I was pretending to be Mion, I already had a connection with Satoshi. Before anyone else knew, it was Shion who was spending time with him. I could have been accused when I was helping out the Himizawa fighters if the relationship between the Hojos and the Sonozakis was the problem. It wouldn't be difficult for the Sonozaki family to know that Satoshi had murdered his aunt, if it happened in Himizawa, of course. Maybe one of them even saw the murder. The Sonozaki family didn't like that I was in love with a murderer, so they decided to step in. Also, you're known to not give up easily, aren't you? Which means even if the Sonozaki family threatened you or ripped off those nails, you still wouldn't cut ties with Satoshi, wouldn't you? I couldn't deny that. I lost most of my means to access Himizawa, so my ties to Satoshi were essentially cut. True, but I still know Satoshi's phone number. I expected him to rejoin the Himizawa fighters. I believe your family knew that a few threats would never be enough for you to break ties with Satoshi, so they can merely threaten you all they like to no avail. The only option would be to do something about that other person, now would it? So what do you mean do something? What would they do? Tell me. If threatening me was useless, then they'd do something about Satoshi. What would they have done? Well, obvious. They make him disappear. They pull something that he would, then wouldn't that interrupt his path from the toy store to home? The toy store to the home. Toy store to X to home. Wait, what is X? What is X? What is brain? X marks the spot where his path was interrupted. But what interrupted it? Why couldn't Satoshi have made it home from the toy store if something interrupted him? Oh God, why? What's X? I need to find out. Calm down, Shion, Jesus.
I ran out of air, became dizzy, and then collapsed. The floor felt cold. I felt no pain. I'd fallen to the floor like a plastic doll. Oishi and others rushed to me and helped me up.
Calm down, we're not certain to that he was killed. You're not certain he was killed? What the fuck are you even talking about? Don't you know about the torture room where they forced me to rip off my fingernails? Don't you know that they said that there were prison cells and a well for disposing of corpses in the back? Wait, where'd you get this, Shion? If the Sonosaki family wants to eliminate somebody, they definitely killed them in that torture room and then dumped the body. No witnesses. Are you not certain, you dumb, that your brain made of tofu? If I were in the hack's position, I'd kill him for sure. I wouldn't let him get away. If I would kill him, then the hag would definitely kill him.
Shion, calm down. This is unconfirmed. But I have information that somebody witnessed a young runaway male at Nagoya Station who took a train from there to Tokyo. The clothes didn't match, but it was possible he changed what he was wearing to hide from the police. Still possible that it was him. So is he alive or dead? This is also a theory, but let me go on. Your twin sister Mion is the closest person to Oryu Zanozaki. I'm assuming Mion stopped Oryu when she suggested murdering Satoshi furtively. Mion? That was possible. She could have tried to calm things down out of pity for me. That idiot was always so indecisive. She should have been clear on if she wanted to save him or not, but probably seemed vague about it. She must have persuaded the hag to reduce the punishment to banishment instead of death just to avoid feeling guilty. I believe Sonozaki contacted Satoshi, probably told him that they could have covered the murder, and told him to disappear somewhere far away, forcing him to be more accurate. He would reject that. He would never leave Sadako. That if I agree with you. He's working at the place as Mion referred to him to, wasn't he? So the family knew he had enough money for a getaway. But he never used it for anything other than buying a teddy bear. You're right. Must have gone straight to the toy store after he withdrew the money. But what if the teddy bear was already sold when he got there? That would have been a very desolate situation. He was working hard. While his aunt abused him, he worked at many different jobs. The money was worth all that pain. Went to the toy store with the money in order to buy his sister a present. The only purpose for that money. He must have looked for the teddy bear as he'd always done, but it was gone. He wouldn't have gone into a panic right away, because he was always so optimistic. He might have thought the store was wrapping up the gift for him because he told him that he'd pick it up a day. Must have gone into the store joyously. I couldn't guess exactly what happened next. My heart would tear up if I tried to imagine it. Why didn't they have it, even though he had it reserved? Did that old man understand the situation, or was he just zoning out? Maybe it would have been the same event if it wasn't that old man who was at the store at the time. If a bunch of fierce-looking subordinates from the Sonosaki family went in and showed them the money, nobody could reject it. Satoshi must have sunk in silence. No matter how hard he complained, the teddy bear was gone. Probably never even considered that his dream might be taken away. He must have been wobbling his way home in sorrow, leaning on the telephone poles every now and then. The day he wanted Sadako to be happy the most. He couldn't get the present she wanted the most. Probably didn't think of getting another gift, because it was unimaginable that he couldn't get that teddy bear. Might have imagined how Sadako would react if she found out he had no present for her. Must have looked unbelievably sad and empty. The money he'd be saving meant nothing anymore. Satoshi never cried, even at his toughest moments. Did he even know how to cry? It was already Sadako who was crying. So Satoshi never learned how to cry, and he grew up that way. Did you know people shed sadness from their hearts with tears? Satoshi wasn't even allowed to do that. Even though his heart was filled with sorrow, he couldn't let it out. You insisted he wouldn't leave Sadako behind, didn't you? But think, what if the Sonozaki family told him that he'd look after her after his disappearance? After Satoshi had found out the teddy bear was gone, all he had left was some crumpled bills. The family told him it was just a matter of time before the police got to him and told him to run away. They said they'd take care of Sadako. Satoshi didn't feel like seeing his sister. Wandered and found himself at Omiya Station. Must have been apologizing to Sadako so many times in his mind. Swore to come back someday. Headed to Nagoya and into Tokyo. But that'll mean he'll be alive. He is alive, right? I should be able to see him again someday. Might be coming back, so I'll definitely see him again. I assumed that the Sonozaki family set up some place for him to stay. Satoshi must have gone there. He's safe. Coming back someday, right? He looked up at the ceiling and stretched. He didn't answer me. On June 24th, 1982, he went missing. There is a possibility that he ran away, as he was the prime suspect of a murder that happened on the 20th of the same month. Allegedly, someone resembling him was seen at Nagoya Station embarking on a train heading to Tokyo, but the truth is unknown. No one has seen him since. As a matter of fact, no one even knows if he's still alive. Notebook page 34, notebook page 42. Maybe this will be a good stopping point. The information that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo hasn't been verified. It started as follows. Okay. A young man came to the lost and found window looking for his wallet. The station employee asked him to write down his name on the form. The young man started writing Hojo as his name, but he stopped in the middle, crumpled the form, and wrote a totally different name on another form. Another station employee witnessed a similar-looking young man rushing into the train headed to Tokyo. The employee from the lost and found and the employee who was on the platform talked about the suspicious young man in the locker room. That was all. The wallet of the man named Hojo was never reported as found to the lost and found office. At first I thought Oishi's theory that the Sonozaki family banished Satoshi-kun from Hinamizawa and looked after Sadako in return. It was bogus. But thinking about it now, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. After all, Sadako started living with Rika Furude after Satoshi's disappearance. Rika Furude isn't just a regular girl, she was the head of the Furude family, one of the three families. The head of the Kimiyoshi family is Rika Furude's guardian. The Sonozaki family probably couldn't step in due to having been officially opposed to the Hojo family, but Sadako is the custody of the three families now. Even though the Hojo family was severely ostracized during the dam conflict, Sadako was now under protection. Seems as though only Sadako was exempted from the blame. Why was she spared even though Satoshi wasn't? Questions indeed. This should be a good stopping point.